Getting to hear the new Linkin album, way before a lot of other people. It's out in 2 weeks' time. I know you'll be buying it as well. We did promise you a little surprise guest as well, and we do have one. So, ladies and gentlemen, Chester Bennington. Yeah!
Hello. Hello. Wow, this is pretty cool. This reminds me of all the clubs that I grew up playing shows in before I was allowed to drink. I started playing gigs when I was like probably 14 or 15, and the only way I could play gigs was to stand out in the alleys behind the bars and then wait for my set to come up and then run on stage and sing and then get the fuck out of there before But this is awesome. How's everybody doing? Good. Good. Well, cool. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. Really excited to play you guys the record. The Hunting Party is something that I feel like for the band really captured the inspiration that we felt when we suddenly decided to drop all the songs that we had been working on and say, we don't want to fucking work on that shit anymore, let's go in this completely different direction. When we decided to go kind of more for a guitar and drum driven record, the whole band lit up like a wildfire. So that's something that hasn't really happened, I think, since we initially started working on music together as a group. You know, I mean, we've always been very passionate about our songs and about our records. But sometimes you kind of have to drag a couple guys along, and sometimes, you know, you have to convince a couple of the guys in the band that this is a cool way to go. And this didn't really take very long for the whole band to jump on board. So I hope you guys really feel the energy that we had in the studio when we made this record. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you guys have any questions.
Just if you put your hands up, and then someone's got a microphone here, so it'll come to you.
Hi, I was just going to say, obviously it's a bit of an understatement to say that from Hybrid Theory and Meteor you changed your style a lot. Do you think with like the Hunting Party you've reached the middle ground that you've been looking for, or do you think you'll just keep trying to experiment and change things?
You know, it's interesting because I think that like when we were making Hybrid Theory, we weren't making music for an audience. We were making music for ourselves. And with the success of Hybrid Theory, that got flipped pretty quickly. Not within the perspective of the band, because we always make music that makes us happy. That's what our goal is. But all of a sudden you have all these outside opinions and all these outside point of views that weren't there before, because now you're in the business of selling music to people. And also with such a huge success of Hybrid Theory, we knew immediately it was like a double-edged sword. It's like, I mean, how do you ever answer? How do you ever come back record on your second record after your first record has been the biggest selling album in the world? I mean, it just doesn't. It's impossible, you know. So from that perspective, we were just like, you know, okay, well, I guess let's go into making our second album. Like, I guess we kind of just keep doing that because we're good at it, and that's what we did. We made Meteora, which basically is literally like Volume 2 of Hybrid Theory, right? I mean, it's almost the same record. And what's funny is, like, when we put Meteora out, of course, like, everything we do is polarized. We love it. We fucking hate you. Which is great. I prefer it that way. But I still haven't seen an article that says, yeah, they're okay, which is awesome. I prefer that. But yeah, I mean, once we made Meteora, it was like we knew at that point, it was like, we could have just gone and made another record like that, and then another record like that, and it probably would have been done there. I mean, I don't think anybody would have really cared about us if we had gone that route. But honestly, like, once we kind of decided going into our third record, like, there's so much more to who we are as artists than this one thing we're kind of put in this old box, you know? We didn't put ourselves there. And it was like one of those things where it was kind of like a challenge. We weren't going to allow what other people thought of us to dictate what kind of music we needed to make. And so we decided to make whatever kind of music we fucking felt like making. And we didn't care if people liked it or not. We hoped people would like it, but if they didn't, we knew we could walk away happy. And we took a big risk making Minutes to Midnight. I mean, it was a big risk, and we knew it. It took us a long time to figure out how to... it was interesting. I'll back up a little bit. It was interesting when we met Rick Rubin, and if any of you guys have read a lot of our articles around Minutes to Midnight, you'll probably have already heard this, but when we met with Rick Rubin, the first thing he said to us was, what kind of record do you want to make? Naturally, he's the producer. And we said, well, kind of doesn't really matter as long as it doesn't sound like Meteor or Hybrid Theory. And he said, great, because if you said you wanted to kind of keep going on the road you guys have been on, I wouldn't want to work with you. And so that was, that wasn't a jab at what we had done. That was more like, you guys are already doing that well, and if you guys want to keep doing that, then you can just go do that. But if you want to do something different, that and go places you haven't gone before, like I'm totally along for that ride. And that was like a godsend because we needed a producer that was going to have our back, that could also have the respect that we needed in case we, ran into any roadblocks on where's the song that's going to make make this record feel like the last couple records. We needed someone in our corner that was going to help steer us on the direction that we wanted to go. So it was great, but it took us a while to kind of break out of those old habits and just make music that sounded like what we had done before. And then once we accomplished that and we survived, we were really excited again about making music. We were excited that the doors were wide open now. I mean, we could pretty much do whatever we wanted at that point. So when we went in to make follow-up to Minutes to Midnight, 1,000 Suns, we were like, what's interesting about that record is we started out kind of making music, kind of thinking of making music for like a video game or like a soundtrack or something, something that didn't really have any boundaries. And it didn't necessarily need to fall into any kind of structure. And we just got super experimental. And that was really exciting to us. And we knew we took another risk with that record. But of course you guys came along for the ride anyways. It was awesome. And that's kind of been the state that we've been kind of going. Is like, okay, well, let's just keep pushing ourselves. Let's just keep pushing ourselves. Let's just see how far we can take it. But we also listen to our fans. And we know that a lot of our fans are like, where's the band we love? Fuck, it's hard to love you guys because you keep making records that we aren't expecting you to make. So we do pay attention to that stuff. And I think with Living Things, we kind of came back a little bit more to kind of satisfy. And I think that was a good thing for us to do, but I think it also kind of like maybe made us a little complacent to a certain degree. And so we started kind of delving more into like the electronic stuff and trying to blend our old style with the new style. We kind of like became okay with being kind of a new metal band. We weren't like, fuck you, new metal. We were like, okay, yeah, I mean, we're kind of a new metal band. We're the only one left, so it's fine for us to be that now, And so with this record, I think when Mike was making his early demos, and he was like, there were really great songs. I mean, really great electronic dance pop songs that I knew I could scream on and make them cool, or we could take it to a different place that would kind of make it feel like us. At one point, he kind of just looked at me and said, I can't fucking do this anymore. I want to do this. And he played me the opening segment of what became Guilty All the Same. And 8 years ago, I'd been like, I don't want to scream. I don't want to do that. Let's do something different. This is the right time. I was like, I want to fucking do that all day, every day, for the rest of my life. and so we ran with it. I mean, it was like once Mike made that switch, it was like we turned the car around and fucking hit the gas and went in the opposite direction as fast as we could. And that in turn, somehow, just everybody just lit up the fire. We challenged Brad to write guitar parts that would inspire the 14-year-old version of himself to want to learn how to play guitar. We challenged Rob to take his playing to a new place that we didn't even know would be possible. I mean, Mike was like programming drum patterns that we would laugh. He'd be like, check this out. And I mean, it was like the craziest, most difficult, fastest drum patterns, and we'd kind of laugh and go, we'll see what he says, you know? And he just did it, you know? And everybody rose to the occasion with this record. So hopefully we just kind of continue carrying on this mentality of like how we felt when we first made our very first record. When we were just kids, wanting to just make music that wasn't in the realm of what we wanted to hear, you know. And now with the kind of Disney watered down culture of modern rock, it felt like the right time to go kick some ass, and so we decided to do that. Gentleman in the back.